was like no reruns with this, and this had to work. Everything was about getting this right. He was very worried about his legacy and the fact that he was able to, his working practice, which was kind of very secretive, that he wanted to share that, and he kind of entrusted me with the job of making the pictures. Now I kind of end up with this situation that forever people are going to ask me about him and about his process, and I don't really know that much about it at all. My photography kind of deals with the outside world, and I guess issues, whether they're personal or whether they kind of things that I feel very strongly about in the world that we live in now. A lot of artists are kind of like, they have one thing and this is what they do, and they spend their whole life dealing with this particular issue and this way of working. And I'm just like, I'm interested in everything. And that manifests itself in, what is a kind of very erratic way of working. Because I'm kind of a sole operator. I've never wanted to be one of these people who kind of has a whole kind of factory type situation. I'm very much about doing what I can do in a day. This book that's just been published in Japan, May Glorious Summer, is a book that recycles and deals with a lot of the kind of ephemera and things that I kept over the years. And I put the book together as a kind of, I don't know, a kind of loss of innocence, a kind of moment of my youth, really. It's kind of great. That's outside South Africa House. So I was a precocious little kid with a camera, kind of going to gigs and going on political marches and, spending time in the school darkroom. One of my school books. So I kept so much junk. I knew it would come in handy one day. All artists have storage problems, but I try and, keep as much stuff as I can. I realized it was getting a bit crazy the other day when I was looking through my boxes and I found my plastic bag collection. I thought, why the fuck am I collecting plastic bags? If you make art, you want to keep everything, so you just have this never-ending problem with storage. Lee was really kind of interested in my first photo book, the living room book, so he liked my pictures and the way that I take pictures, and he liked the way that I worked. He was very, very insistent that it was this particular season and this collection, The Horn of Plenty, as this was his kind of retrospective season. So for someone to come along and say, I want you to photograph this for me, was an unusual thing for me, because I'm only ever really kind of generating my own projects about issues and concerns that I have myself. Often when you're making art, you are spending hours, weeks, days preparing for that moment of creation that can sometimes be a second or a minute or 5 minutes, And what I saw with Lee was he would have these moments where everything would be prepared and his staff around him would kind of get everything ready, and the model would be there and they would be there, and there'd be the girl with the pins and the woman who'd hand him the scissors, and then they'd bring in the rolls of cloth, and then he'd be like, like cutting and then pinning onto the girl, and then he'd be like, ugh, and sit down again, and they'd all look at what he did in like 2 or 3 minutes, and those were the moments that I was trying to kind of capture in the photographs. This box, I've broken. I need to get another one ready. When I finished taking the McQueen pictures, as Lee didn't know how to work in design, I decided to kind of go back in time a bit and make a maquette come scrapbook. He made the final edit so you could see the garments being produced, from the drawing stage through to the show. This for me is him. I was like, that's you. He quite liked that, so that went near the front of the book. I went to the landfill sites out on the A12, also in East London. I think it was important that they were in East London. I made these kind of very theoretical pictures of the waste ground on 10/8. These are used throughout the book for a whole hybrid of different reasons. I don't think the book would be the same without it. It's many ways what kind of turns what could be a fashion come documentary book into what then is a sequence of pictures which is a work of art of its own.
There's this one which I haven't found.
That's digital. That's why you haven't found it. That's taken with a digital camera.
You are funny.
Oh, it's good to see this big. Wow. Yeah, these two. Wow, look at that. This is, yeah, kind of possibly my favourite one. Yeah.
Shouldn't be. Is this one okay?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then seeing them like this, it's a kind of, it's amazing. When you're working with this kind of old analog cameras that they have 8 shots on the roll, I can shoot the 8 shots in a matter of seconds, so there's just constantly, I'm running around, I'm looking for shots and moments, and constantly changing the cameras on this kind of constant cycle. And one of the assistants was like, "You must be careful, it's very dangerous." And I'm like thinking, well, I've been to a few war zones. This is a fashion show. I feel that I'm kind of looking after part of his legacy now with this work, and that's something that I never imagined would happen, which is a very kind of strange situation for me to be in. It's such a shame that he's not there to see it, but at this point, it's 4 years since he died, it will be nearly 5 years. It's a time to kind of celebrate him, not to be sad anymore.